extra spicy in the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers as we enter matchday number 4. That's right. Who, of course, will get a little bit closer to the World Cup. Who, of course, will be eliminated. We're going to take a look at that and much more next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we're taking a look at match number 4, that's right, in the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers over in the Central North Americas, that's right, who, of course, will get a little bit closer to the World Cup and who, of course, will be packing the bags and preparing for life on the beach, that's right. What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you in a second. If you know where you've been, smash your subscribe and you want to subscribe for Blackburn Rovers, World Cup qualifiers, all that kind of stuff under one rooski, of course. Busy over in the Caribbean and in the Americas. As we try to see who, of course, will continue their World Cup journey. What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you in a second. Big shout out to the members and the patrons. You know who you are. But right here, right now, what we're going to do is recap the results that, of course, did take place as, of course, we're exploring the road to 2026. That's right. And a recap of the results that did take place the past few days. It's very mad keeping up with CONCACAF. But we're going to do it. And what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the situation in the old qualifiers. Alrighty then, folks, these were the games that did take place this past weekend, or past few days, of course, as we've enjoyed a flurry of international matches. Starting at the top of the shop there, Bermuda beat Cayman Islands. They went to win the 5-0 scoreline in the end, with a 2-0 win. So my predictions on the left, the real deal's on the right. Also, Antigua and Barbuda did lose to Cuba 1-0. I went with a 2-1 win. Ain't too shabby. Grenada did beat Bahamas 6-0. I went with a 2-1. Ain't too shabby. I'm doing pretty good here. Meanwhile, Trinidad and Tobago, TT Brothers, 6-2 winners in the end over St. Kitts and Nevis. I went with a 3-1 win. Barbados and Aruba did duked it out to a 1-1 draw. I went with a 1-0 win, so not too great there. Curacao with a 4-0 win over St. Lucia. I went with a 3-0 win. Montserrat with a 1-0 win over Belize. I went with a 2-1 win there. Nicaragua with a 1-0 win over Guyana. I went with a 3-1 win. Dominica did beat British Virgin Islands 3-0. I went with a 2-0 win. We have Guatemala with a 4-2 win over Dominican Republic. I went with a 3-1 win myself. St. Vincent Grenadines with a 6-0 win over Anguilla. I went with a 1-0 win myself. And Suriname did beat Puerto Rico 1-0. I went with a 3-1 win. So pretty much, I am the prediction king, right? Maybe one little blip in there. But of course, we did our ting, brother. Let's take a look at the tables as I see it. As of course I'm just plowing through this with a little couple of things in the background. There we go. So as it stands here now, of course there are a couple of nations that do have to play, I think, a couple games. So Honduras being one of them. So graphic, it might not be well, it's still got some work to do here, but regardless, Honduras and Cuba top the pops over in Group A. Into Group B, Trinidad and Tobago and Costa Rica lead the charge in that situation there. Meanwhile, into Group C, we have some qualifiers that'll go through to the third round. Curacao and Haiti. They are over the line. Haiti, of course, game in hand, perhaps, on their record there. So they are through, and the other three are eliminated. Also in Group D, Nicaragua progressed. Panama will get close very soon as well. Meanwhile, in Group E, we have seen Guatemala go through to the next round. Jamaica got a bit of work to do as well. And Suriname also progressing to the third round. Puerto Rico doing themselves no harm as well, but still got a bit of work to do over there. But we're going to get to the next round of games. All right, then, folks, the Cayman Islands will be taking on Honduras coming at you on the 7th of June. That's right, that is today. So no rest for the wicked. The Truman Bodden Sports Complex, that's right, in the Cayman Islands. The host coming into this 25% form for them right now, winners in the last 3. Just one win in the last 6 up against Honduras, who've won back-to-back matches. Now, these two sides haven't played each other in recent times, so we're going to have to go with a recent form. Honduras, though, on the back of that 2-0 win over Bermuda. That was back on the 26th of March. That was the last match for them. Over against the Cayman Islands, who just got on the back of that 5-0 loss to Bermuda. Of course, Honduras with a busy schedule on their hands. They've got another match on the 11th, so crazy stuff for them. Maybe have to revisit this, the CONCACAF, for a third time. But I do have slight odds looking at it. Honduras, of course, massively fancied on here, and I'm going to go with a 3-0 win as well for Honduras to open up the floodgates on the CONCACAF matches. Let's go to Cuba. They're up against it next. And they are taking on Bermuda. Again, this is very difficult because they're all over the place. This is actually on the 10th of June. Cuba gets Bermuda over in Group A, I believe. Cuba have played Bermuda just the one time. Of course, they picked up a 5-0 win in that match, which was, of course, back in February 29. We'll talk about that again shortly. 2 wins in the last 4 matches for Cuba. 33% form for them right now. Up against Bermuda on the back of 50% form. They've won 3 and lost 3 over the last 6. And they do come into this on the back of a win. What win was that? It was a 5-0 win over the Caymans just the other day. Cuba also on the back of that 1-0 win over Antigua Barbuda back on the 6th of the 6th. This match takes place on the 10th of June. Of course, the 5-0 win was back in as a friendly way back in February. Got no odds on this one though, so it is a go for your gut kind of instinct for this one. It is a little bit undecisive, but I think I'm going to back Cuba for the victory on this one. 2-1 winners to take the 3 points and maybe edge a little bit closer to continuing their World Cup dream. Let's go Bahamas. They're up against Costa Rica. I think this is their first match of the qualifying campaign here in this international break. Taking on the Bahamas on the 8th of June. That's at the BFA World Turf. Bahamas, of course, just no points so far. They sit 5th in their group. Just 1 win in the last 6. Up against Costa Rica, who are second, 6 points over a possible 6. Back-to-back wins on 58% form for them right now. They've yet to play each other, according to my data, in recent times. And, of course, coming into the Bahamas on the back of a couple of heavy defeats, losing to Barbados back in October 6-2. And then, once again, losing to Grenada just the other day 6-0 to make it 12 goals conceded in the last 2. As for Costa Rica, they are likely to put some numbers down here. They're on the back of 13 goals scored in the last 2, beating Belize back-to-back in March in the what was that? That was the CONCACAF Gold Cup preliminaries to secure the spot here actually for the Gold Cup itself, which of course is just around the corner and something we are covering on the channel. Of course, we've got odds on this one again, massively fancy for Costa Rica. I don't think you should look anywhere else here. I'm going to go with a 3-0 win. I'm being a little bit modest here, but a 3-0 win as well for Costa Rica to take it to the house. Let's go to St. Kitts and Nevis. They're up in action, taking on, of course, who are they taking? They're taking on Grenada. This match taking place on the 10th of June as well. Of course, Warner Park is the venue. St. Kitts and Nevis on the back of 3 successive defeats. Grenada on back-to-back wins themselves. They have taken on St. Kitts and Nevis twice since 2019. 1 win for Grenada, nothing for St. Kitts. There's been 1 draw between the 2 sides. Coming into this, though, they last played. It was a 0-0 draw in this very country. Of course, way back in November 2019 in the CONCACAF Nations League, League B, Group A phase. The one and only victory for Grenada was in Grenada back in September 2019. St. Kitts and Nevis on the back of that 6-2 loss to Trinidad and Tobago the other day. Grenada, though, on the back of that 6-0 win over Bahamas, and the tails are up. Back-to-back clean sheets for them. Of course, I think they're forced to be reckoned with here, Grenada. Don't have odds, though, for this, so it's a bit of a pot shot. I'm going to go with a 2-1 away win here. Grenada surprising us all with some big, valuable points. Let's go to Aruba. They're taking on Haiti. This match is coming at you today, guys and girls. Aruba on the back of back-to-back games without a loss up against Haiti, who've won 6 on the bounce, and they could be a force to be reckoned with for the qualifiers and also the Gold Cup just around the corner. So they played each other twice in the last year or so. 2 wins out of 2 for Haiti, including a 5-3 win when they last played in Haiti back in October 2024. Now, they have played in Aruba. Also, last year was a 3-1 win for Haiti back in October. And Aruba, though, picking up a draw against Barbados just the other day. Also, a win over Cambodia not too long ago. Their last, and those 2 matches were on the road. The last match that they were at home, they did lose to St. Martin back in November 2024. As for Haiti, they have been scoring goals for fun. What am I looking at here? 6, 10, 14, 19 goals scored in the last 4. That includes victories over Aruba, St. Martin, Puerto Rico, and Azerbaijan. That's right. That's back on the 22nd of March. That match. Haiti, of course, Gold Cup right around the corner, and they could actually do some damage. I do have basic odds. Basic odds go with Haiti. I'm going to go with a win for the Haitians as well. 1-0. Maybe a bit of embarrassing on myself there. Maybe it should be like a 3-0 or 4-0. But regardless, Haiti will win this match. Let's go to St. Lucia. They're up against it, taking on a Barbados side on the 10th of June. This is, of course, officially match number 5 for this one. St. Lucia on the back of 4 successful defeats. Barbados on the back of 4 matches without a win themselves. They played once since 2017, and it was a draw. 1-1 it was, way back in July 2017. St. Lucia on the back of that 4-0 loss to Curacao just the other day. It's actually been back-to-back losses against Curacao, conceded 8 goals in the last couple. In fact, they conceded 12. 16 goals in the last 4. They've been conceding for fun. They've got the 1 goal scored in the last 4 up against, though, a Barbados side on the back of back-to-back draws, drawing Dominica and drawing with Aruba. They have been scoring some goals, have Barbados, so I do anticipate them to probably have the upper hand. No odds on this one at the Estadio El Gojeto in St. Lucia. Gone with a 1-1 draw here, which doesn't surprise me. when you look at their recent run of form. Belize, they're up against it, taking on Panama, coming at you on the 8th of June. Belize are 5th right now, 3 defeats on the spin for them, right, heading into over in Group D. Up against the Panama side, just in second, 6 points of a possible 6, maybe? Just 1 win in the last 4 matches. They played Belize twice in 2011, 1 win for Panama, nothing for Belize. There has been 1 draw. That 1 draw was back in January 2017. 0-0 it was in the Copa Centroamericana, that's right. The one and only victory for Panama was way back in January 2011. Belize on the back of that 1-0 loss to Montserrat. Panama on the back of that 2-1 loss in the Nations League final against Mexico back in March. This is the first match for them. Over the next couple of days, they'll be taking on Nicaragua as well on the 11th. But bookies for this one, they'll go with Panama. Of course they will. I will as well. And I think they'll put a scoreline down, 4-0 winners to flex some muscles as they get into tip-top shape for an important summer for them. In the grand scheme of things. Let's go to Guyana up against Montserrat then, shall we? Of course, this is heading into, where are we? Heading into match day number 6 for this one? 5. 5, of course, on the 11th of June. Guyana in Group D right now, 3rd in the table, back-to-back defeats for them, 50% form for them. Up against the Montserrat side, 33% form for them, winning twice in the last 5. And they're coming into this also with 3 points in Group D. They played each other twice, these two nations, in 2022. 1 win for Guyana, nothing for Montserrat. There's been 1 draw between the two sides. The one and only win for Guyana was way back in June 2022. It was the CONCACAF Nations League Group B phase. That was in Montserrat. The last time I played in Guyana, it was a 0-0 draw. Guyana on the back of back-to-back defeats, back-to-back games without a goal for them, up against the Montserrat side, who picked up a win against Belize just the other day, looking to get another win under the colours. This will take place at the synthetic track and field facility in Guyana. And I don't think I have any odds, so it's all about the gut instinct. My gut instinct says a 2-1 win Guyana, take the points against a Montserrat side. Let's go to the British Virgin Islands as they take on Jamaica. Reggae boys. Of course, British Virgin Islands, bottom of the pile here, yet to get a point. 8% form for them right now. They've lost 5 of the last 6. Up against Jamaica under Steve McLaren there. Of course, Wally with a brolly. Just 1 defeat in the last 6 for Jamaica. Coming into this on the back of a penalty shootout loss to Nigeria. That was, of course, back on the 31st of May. They've had a couple of preparation games, including Trinidad and Tobago, to kind of wet their whistle a little bit. Taking on the British Virgin Islands side on the back of that 3-0 loss to Dominica just the other day. Of course, the odds for this one, Jamaica, I expected to put some score down here, and they do need to get their act together. Yet to get a defeat here, so back-to-back wins in the Group E qualification phase. And of course, a win will probably secure their spot in the 3rd round of qualifiers. They'll get it, though. I think they will. 5-0 win. Big time. They're in the bank. Let's go. Dominican Republic next up. They're taking on. Who are they? They're taking on Dominica. Of course, it's the Dominican rivalry, you would say. Coming out at Estadio Olímpico Felix Sanchez. Dominican Republic are 3rd in the table, 3 points for them. Up against Dominica, 4th in the table, also 3 points. Of course, that's over in Group E. That's right. With only 1 spot remaining, it doesn't look like it's not going to happen. For either of these, Jamaica are in the driving seat. But anyway, they played 4 times to 2012. Dominican Republic have won 4 on the spin. That's right, including a 6-1 win when these two sides last played back in November 2024. The last time they played in the Dominican Republic, it was a 2-0 win back in September 2024. So looks like it's a one-sided rivalry going in favour of the Dominican Republic. They're coming into so on the back of that 4-2 loss to Guatemala. That was just the other day. Meanwhile, when is this match? Of course, Dominica on the back of a 3-0 win over the British Virgin Islands to make it 3 clean sheets on the spin. So pretty good form for them heading into this. But we don't have any odds, so we can't really gauge it too much on this one. But I am going to go with a 1-1 draw here, which is not really good, to be honest with you. There hasn't been a draw in the last 4, so probably Dominican Republic will snatch it. Let's go to the final couple here. We got Anguilla up against El Salvador. That's coming at you today. Anguilla just 1 win the last 6 for them, 17% form for them. Up against El Salvador, just 1 defeat in the last 5. However, winless in the last 3. They've taken on Anguilla though twice in 2008, and they won both of them. Have El Salvador. This is at the Raymond E. Guichard Stadium. The last match they played was in Anguilla. It was a 4-0 win for El Salvador. That was back in March 28, 2008. They did play also in El Salvador back in the same year. It was a 12-0 win for El Salvador. Anguilla, though, on the back of that 6-0 loss to Vincent Grenadines. Guatemala, though, on the back of that 1-1 draw against El Salvador. That's right, as their preparations for the Gold Cup ramp up a little bit with a spicy old group in the Gold Cup. Not around the corner. The odds for this one, of course, massively in fancy for El Salvador. Of course, you wouldn't really go anywhere else for this one, and I've stuck to that mindset. 2-0 win as well. Again, conservative scoreline, nothing crazy. And then we wrap it all up with, of course, Puerto Rico taking on St. Vincent Grenadines. This match will take place Where are you? There you are on the 11th of June. We have still got a few games to talk about. That'll probably be in another video, but this is what I'm thinking right here and now. Puerto Rico, of course, over in Group F, taking on Vincent Grenadines at the Estadio Centroamericano de Maguas on the 11th of June. Puerto Rico winners in the last 4 up against Vincent Grenadines, unbeaten the last 3, just 1 defeat in the last 6. The last time I don't know when they last played. Of course, according to my data, it's not on my record here. Puerto Rico, though, did lose to Suriname most recently, back-to-back games now without a goal. Vincent Grenadines on the back of the 16 win over Anguilla. That was on at the home backyard. The last time they were on the road, Vincent Grenadines, they did lose convincingly 3-0 to Jamaica. Got no odds for this one. Puerto Rico's last home match was a 2-2 draw against Dominican Republic. This could be a draw. But I'm going against the grain here. I'm going to go with a 1-0 win, I think. No, 2-1 win for Puerto Rico. In the end, to give themselves a big old point and maybe get them a little bit closer, because it is very spicy in that Group F. With Puerto Rico on 4 points, El Salvador on 4 points, Vincent Grenadines on 3 points. El Salvador do have a game in hand, though, so then they might be able to show up in the end. But that's my take on it, guys. Give me your thoughts and opinions as we look forward to that and more over in the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. But until then, subscribe, smash the like, catch you later. Until then, we are done.